We just mentioned value and Amanda Lemos being on the side of value. And while I absolutely agree with that, it's hard to capitalize on that value when you have such a stifling, smothering fighter like Virna Jandiroba against you. What are the major discrepancies in fight styles between these two fighters?
Oh, well, we got a very quick striker who likes to utilize movement, and on the side of Lemos, and then with the Jandiroba, you got somebody who's going to walk you down, control you, put the pressure to you, try to get this fight to the ground. And it's like you said, Derek, smother the hell out of you until she wins the fight.
And that's the hard part though, right? Because you could argue for both fighters. All right, well, if this thing stays standing, I really like Amanda Lemos here. Like it's not even close. I think it's unfair, really, if it stays standing. If this gets to the ground, same situation. It's not even close. It's like Jandiroba is just going to run all over her, in my opinion, just from what we've seen. If Wei Li, right, the beloved strawweight champion, Zhang Wei Li, if she can smother Amanda Lemos the way that she did, although I don't believe she got the finish, if I remember correctly. Yeah, she didn't get the finish over the course of 25 minutes. If she can do that to Lemos, Jandiroba, who is willing to take a similar approach, but is a much higher level, let me mark my words. I was going to say a higher level finisher, but you see a lot of decisions on her record. Let's just say the submission artist is Jandiroba. I mean, do you think that Amanda Lemos' defense proved enough in the Wei Li fight to say, hey, I have some extra confidence if Jandiroba is able to take it to the ground?
Yeah, not really, Derek, to be completely frank, man. A couple fights had me worried. Not only the Wei Li fight, but also the way Mackenzie Dern was able to control Amanda Lemos. And Lemos won that fight, but the vast majority of the time, she's just sitting on her back, trying to find a way out, looking for ways, and that's a bad view for the judges. I can see if Jandiroba gets this fight to the ground, I can see a lot of control time coming. The question is, man, at the start of every single round, how's it going to work? And when Lemos keeps getting into that style of fight, goes on with the gas tank that she has, will she be able to outpace Jandiroba with the movement that she has?
That's a great question. So let's jump into the odds about this and really break it down. As you can see, the opening odds, minus 150 for Jandiroba, plus 110 comeback for Lemos, which you look at the Lemos side and you're like, okay, plus money. I like the value there. Current odds hasn't shifted much. Minus 130 for Jandiroba, still plus 110 for Lemos. So where the value comes in from the Lemos side, I think is early, right? The earlier the fight is, the fresher she is, even though it's going to be tough because they're not going to be sweaty and slippery. Her rooted Muay Thai stance, we talk about it every time, very rooted deeply into the ground, is going to be very beneficial. The only worry that I have that comes is in order to sit down on your shot, you have to plant your feet. If you plant your feet, you open yourself up to a single attempt, any type of entry from Jandiroba. Jandiroba is not Mackenzie Dern, and she's not going to come at you all-fledged, bat out of hell crazy and then take you down. Her shots are much more conventional, and she actually does shoot out from a little bit further, which I can see another counter setup coming from Amanda Lemos. Let's talk about the pathways to victory for Amanda Lemos. Let's say this gets to round 2, round 3 right here. Damage trumps all. So if Jandiroba's holding, hugging, and not able to secure a finish or elbows off the top or something crazy like that, you can argue if Lemos is able to drop her, if she's able to hit her with some damaging shots, maybe cut her up a little bit, this could be a lot more interesting of a fight than we probably imagine. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely, Derek. If Amanda Lemos is able to maintain the range that she's comfortable at and then avoid the strikes that are coming back, we've seen Jandiroba overextend on her punches, especially in the combos. When she's throwing that straight right, she'll leap out. And like you said, also, she shoots from far. She takes a little bit further shots out there. And I can see Lemos, if she's able to time that movement of Jandiroba going forward, she's able to land some counter strikes. We've seen her have power in that right hand as well.
Now, one major question that I do have for both competitors right here is that we say we're kind of crowning and hailing, saying this is the next generation, this is the new set of champions right here. We say that given the state of the division. Listen, man, Lemos is 36, Jandiroba's 37, if I recall correctly. No, actually opposite. Lemos is 37, Jandiroba 36. What are we really making? 115 pounds, you're starting to get to the 35 to 40 range right here. Is this matchup taking place because they're saying we need something out of you guys like ASAP because your window is closing?
Absolutely, Derek. I mean, if there's no time, or if this isn't the time isn't going to be in a couple years when these ladies are 40 years old, right? I mean, the only reason we have those kind of fighters in the female division is because they're the Holly Holmes. They're the greats of the era, or the eras, I should say. And that's why they're still around and still being, acclimated or pulled into fighting. Whereas this now, I mean, I don't see a lot of people clamoring for an Amanda Lemos or a Jandiroba fight here in 3 or 4 years, unless they're able to make the splash right now.
And to be honest, just to be fair, right? Like I'm probably clamoring for Lemos a little bit more than Jandiroba with the fight style, but that's neither here nor there. All right, there's juice on these props right here, and I want to know where the juice sits in your camp. I know who you're picking, you know who I'm picking, but we're not talking about who we're picking. We're talking about where is the juice, and the juice comes in two props for Amanda Lemos plus 205 TKO. That, oh my God, you look at that and you start drooling. You're like, what? 205 for that? On the other hand, plus 215 submission prop for Virna Jandiroba. It's hard because we can go in circles all day long about this, man. But the question is, either Lemos can take the shot, can hit Jandiroba. Jandiroba could still scramble somehow and try to grab her, take her down. But if Jandiroba gets a hold of Lemos, we've seen from past fights, there's a very likely chance that Lemos is not getting up. So where does the juice lie?
Absolutely, Derek. I mean, if you hit the nail on the head with the Lemos side, you're absolutely drooling at the mouth, groveling at plus 205 TKO, because I can see that being a very likely outcome if Lemos is able to hold distance. But on the Jandiroba side, not only plus 215 submission because of what you're talking about, but also that plus 240 decision. It comes into the same camp because if even if Jandiroba isn't able to finish Lemos in a submission, she's still going to have all that control time. So there's a lot of juice there for if you're Jandiroba better. I'm still rocking the other side though.
And as you can see, when I pull up the big screen right here, if you're looking at the over, it's 2.5 rounds minus 180 for over 2.5 rounds. So I think that what the odds makers are saying is like someone is going to get finished from the thought process that we're taking here. Do you not have any confidence that this can go over 2.5? Because if you do have confidence, minus 180 for a women's fight like this over 2.5, you have to play that.
Absolutely, Derek. And what we've seen before is normally this odd would be at like a 4.5, right? You're seeing a minus 180 for a 4.5, 2.5 rounds for this female fight. You're jumping on that all day long.
All day long. All right, folks. So with that being said, these are the plays that we got right here for the main event, Amanda Lemos versus Virna Jandiroba. It is a contentious pick. I like Jandiroba, and folks, if you guys are tailing me, we're riding one of two plays. We're riding the submission play, or we're riding the just pure money line. Minus 130 currently as it stands for Virna Jandiroba. That is value. I am willing to pay that price, and if you're backing me, you should be willing as well. AJ, clean yours up, and then let's move to the next.
If you're rocking with Lemos over here, man, obviously, like we said before, she's in the parlay as the money line. But if you're really looking to put some money, if you're confident on this one, plus 205 TKO Amanda Lemos.
All right, fair play. That's your main event, folks. And like I said, it's going to definitely dictate what the future of this strawweight division is going to be looking like. All right.